SummerSlam review. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
What a party of the summer we had yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Triple H is on a roll.
Good Lord. I know like Money in the Bank, some of us kind of criticized some of that. I think kind of deservedly so. But I mean, SummerSlam was pretty perfect.
Knocked out of the park in every single way. It top to bottom. Let's get right to it, though. Speaking of Triple H, he started the show. Just like Mania, music hits, Triple H, he basically comes out and says, welcome to SummerSlam. He does the DX saying, are you ready? Points to Mr. Jelly Roll, who's in the ring. He sings a song. Jelly Roll is part of the night in many ways, but this is a good way to start the biggest party of the summer. And then it would immediately pan to The Miz, the host of SummerSlam. He was standing in the crowd, soaking it all in, hometown boy. Got some good cheers, and he then started SummerSlam again, kind of. So it went from start of SummerSlam, start of SummerSlam, and that brought us to the Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan match to kick off the night. And I remember looking at you going, oh no, for Damien. I was like, if Liv and Rhea are kicking off the show, it's not looking good for our boy. Uh-oh.
Yeah, but what a hot way to start off SummerSlam. I mean, great choice. Probably the perfect choice. I mean, we'll get into the match, but yeah, you had said that, and I was like, yeah, there's still a chance. It still might not happen.
Yeah, but the cool thing was when Miz started the show, they went backstage and they did the walkout cam with Rhea and Dom. So they went all the way out through Gorilla, the entrance, Dom on her shoulder. They look like they're a happy couple.
Mm-hmm. Right then and there, too, you also said, uh-oh.
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh, they being a little too handsy during this entrance.
Oh, man.
Oh, no, what's going to happen? Liv would come out, big pops for both these people. The crowd was ready, crowd was hot for this match. Liv would start the match out by doing a bunch of basically mind games, running away from Rhea. Whenever Rhea would get out, she'd get in. One of those fun little games. Dom really didn't care. Like I thought we were gonna get more Dom stuff right away, but he kind of just let it happen. But they were running around the ring. They would eventually both end up in the middle of the ring, looking at each other in what ended up being a pretty viral picture in the ring. But Rhea would dominate the beginning of the match. It was kind of like the story here was like Rhea is pissed. She's finally getting her hands on Liv, and Liv just can't handle it. But eventually, Liv would throw Rhea into the ring post and separate her bad shoulder again, which she did a phenomenal job at selling, because we always watch these with a bunch of friends who only watch the big PLEs. They don't watch weekly television, but they love to watch SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and they're all like, oh no, her shoulder's out of socket. Her shoulder's got it. She's actually hurt. And we were like, it's probably a work, but she did a good job doing it.
Yeah.
But obviously it's the injury that Rhea just came off of. So they were selling that she re-injured it, and Liv would just target that the entire match. They were on the outside of the ring. She was kicking her shoulder into the steel steps, basically targeting the whole time. That's how they evened out the playing field here. Rhea was so much above Liv, but after the injury, on an even playing field here. So what else do we got here? I have a ton of stuff. Eventually, the Dom stuff would happen. So throughout the match, we finally are getting hot. Liv would end up trying to suicide dive outside the ring to Rhea, and Dom would actually throw Rhea out of the way and take the suicide dive. And when Rhea saw this, so Liv got back in the ring, Rhea saw this, basically yelled at Liv, like, you hurt my Dom, and she was like done being hurt. So she would throw herself shoulder first into the announce table and pop her shoulder back into place. Mm-hmm. It was cool.
Oh yeah.
It was cool.
I mean, it's a cool little spot for sure.
Yeah, so like they showed like the announce table, like the camera on the people in the announce table, like Pat McAfee, Cole, and Graves were on commentary tonight. They were like, oh, holy shit. So she was able to pop it back into place. She kind of got the upper hand again, but throughout the match, it was kind of this thing where every time Liv did any offense, she was getting the shoulder out of place again. Mm-hmm. So Rhea had to continue to get the shoulder pop back in before she could do anything. So it was like Super Rhea that was injured versus Liv. Then the buffoonery happens.
And the good stuff.
The good stuff happens. There would be a moment where Rhea would hit the Riptide, 1-2 ooh from Liv. She kicks out, big deal. But Rhea or Liv would then bring in a chair. Liv would bring in a chair, and kind of talk some smack, and I'm going to hit you with this. I have the champion's advantage. Obviously, that wouldn't work out. But Rhea would end up getting the advantage over Liv. Liv would take the chair, or Rhea would take the chair, and it looked like she was going to say, screw it to winning the title. She was going to hit Liv with it because her hatred is more than the worth of the belt.
Yeah.
And she would go up with the chair, and Dom would steal it. But this wasn't in an act of defying Rhea. This was an act of him being like, no, you want to win the title, bro. Stop. Don't hit her with the freaking chair. Mm-hmm. But when that happened, she ended up hitting the Oblivion on Rhea Ripley. 1-2 ooh again. But then there was some other stuff. Dom now has a chair on the outside, and he slides it in right next to the ring ropes. Then he goes over, starts distracting the ref, and we're kind of sitting there like, what? Liv would go over, hit another Oblivion on Rhea Ripley onto the chair. Dom would back away, let the ref count. 1, 2, 3. Liv retains the championship. And then the camera cuts over to Mr. Dirty Dom on the outside, who is smiling ear to ear. And we're like, whoa, what? Mm-hmm. Liv would roll out of the ring because she was so excited. And who was there for her? Dirty Dom would pick her up and lay the dirtiest dominant kiss on Liv Morgan. Dom Mysterio has turned on Rhea Ripley. He has chosen Liv Morgan. What a scene from SummerSlam, man. This was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is fantastic. I mean, like you said, we watch it. We try to do the live, admittedly, and that didn't go according to plan.
Yeah.
So we went ahead.
That's going to happen, TBD, but we need
So, we had some people over watching, like you said, some casual people. And some people that kind of know what's going on, but maybe not in depth. And the in unison, just screaming and yelling when Dom and Liv kiss. It's like, this is fantastic.
A bunch of non-wrestling fans all on their feet, like, yeah! It was so good, man. It was so good. But, like, Rhea's in the ring crying, basically, screaming, crying. Kind of has, like, a Joker-ish vibe, like, where she's, like, so mad that she's happy. Like,
like, she's so, distraught that she's going crazy sort of thing,
But, like, where does this go with Liv and Rhea? I mean, where do we take this?
Well, maybe we'll get to that later with what happens later on. I think that's probably where they go. They do maybe like a 3v3.
I hope they go like full Edge and Lito on it. I'm not saying like, the obvious thing that you point to, but like how they were like over the top lovey. Mm-hmm. And then you had like, they were just kind of like the gross couple that had the title, but now you can do that with the woman being the champion. So that'd be a fun little thing.
Yeah. I mean, perfect way to start the night.
Perfect.
And it progressed the storyline, and everybody that we saw, or at least maybe 90% of people are like, oh, Dom's going to cost Rhea. Dom's going to cost Rhea. And it was exactly what needed to happen, and it was fantastic.
It still was a pop. Like it wasn't predictable. Like, it was awesome. But we mentioned on our predictions how we thought that maybe the Judgment Day would have a through line throughout the entire night of SummerSlam, and how that would be great. Turns out that's exactly what happened, because backstage happened. We go to the Judgment Day's backstage area, whatever they call it, the Judgment Day's room. And Damian is fuming. He runs in there pissed. Where's Dom? And Carlito and Finn and JD are all in there like, oh, we don't know. Calm down. And he immediately picks out Finn. He's like, did you freaking know about this, dude? Did you know about this? And Finn's like, no, of course I didn't know about this. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get this fixed tonight. So they run off. Then we get our second match. Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. And this one, we're on our seats at the beginning because we're like, please do the right thing. Please do the right thing. Please do the right thing. Please. Going on second, like you could have snuck a fast one in on us here after the hot start. So, but the match would start hot. We were all sitting there like, squash him. Try to spear him right away. That's exactly what Braun Breaker tried to do. He would go for the spear, but Sami would jump it. It was a hell of a jump.
Right.
Hell of a jump. Braun would hit the ring post, and guess what? His shoulder was hurt. So that's how they kind of evened out the Braun Breaker Sami Zayn thing. It was a shoulder injury from Braun Breaker. Sami would then immediately hit a suicide swanton over the top rope, which was sick.
Yeah.
And that's would equal more shoulder injury. So that was kind of the whole through line of the match. Match was back and forth, fast pace. These guys were all getting offense off. Braun would hit a Frankensteiner, which would be a 1-2 ooh. Braun would go for another like top rope, like almost like bionic elbow, but Sammy would turn it into a blue thunder bomb. 1, 2, ooh there, because that move has never pinned a human soul. But we get a Sammy exploder in the corner on Braun, and then he would wind up the haluva kick. Crowd's going wild. He'd go for the haluva kick. Spear from Braun Breaker. Braun would just walk over, pick that man up, run the ropes at 23 miles an hour. As Michael Cole said, another spear to Sammy. 1, 2, 3. Braun Breaker wins the Intercontinental title. It's clean. Looks strong here. Good stuff, man. Like exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, and I know we'd mention later on with somebody or with a title feud, you typically always have 3, right? Yeah. Guy wins one. Thought this match was great. Thought it was fantastic. I thought it did exactly what it needed to do. This one seems like the final one.
I agree.
Because of how definite it was of a finish.
Literally zero drama. There was zero like story beats here during the match that would need finishing elsewhere or would kind of require more storytelling to play out. This was just a flat out championship match with a definitive winner.
Yeah. Definitive winner and definitive into this. Now you have Braun going against Dragunov, more than likely, and then you have Sammy probably helping with the bloodline stuff, I would assume.
If they don't throw Sammy into the bloodline, then I would really like Sammy to turn heel on Jay. That's what I was thinking. Like, if they're not going to full send the bloodline right away, we'll get to that later, but given the great return but lack of returns at the same time during that final part that we'll get to, I don't think they're just going to send the house at the bloodline story right away. So you still need Jay and Sammy to do something. I think you turn Sammy heel because you're not going to turn Jay heel, given that he is the most over star in the business in terms of crowd, interaction. So turn him heel. Sammy's been a good heel before. Make him interesting.
Yeah.
Like have him distraught from losing it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you have Breaker that we know for sure what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
But Sammy, it's like, what happens now? I don't really know. Unless it is bloodline stuff, but he's kind of in maybe like a wait and see mode where it's maybe a couple weeks we see him just on TV doing some promos, and maybe we don't see him in a match again for a little bit.
It's also as much flack as we've given Sammy. He finally did the job here in a very good way. He has been a weekly guy, workhorse. If you want to give Sammy a month off, he doesn't do Berlin, maybe not even Bad Blood. You can give Sami Zayn some time off, and he won't lose a beat. So, all right. We got, so far, we got 1 title retainment and 1 title change, which leads to the next match. United States Championship, Logan Paul, LA Knight. Logan Paul had a pretty rough weekend on the internet.
He didn't hit the yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We love LA Knight here. He had a pretty rough weekend in terms of crowd favorite. He is not anymore, and especially when he walked out in Cleveland, they booed him. They booed him loudly. But he makes his entrance, and there's somebody standing there. He said that Mr. Cleveland would be there, and we're all like, "Well, LeBron's in France, bro. who's Mr. Cleveland then?" But he walks out, and there's a man in a hoodie, and he goes over and he pulls the hoodie off. It is MGK.
I mean, I guess that is fair thinking about it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
new age Cleveland, celebrities. MGK, I guess, is on that Mount Rushmore of.
It's Cleveland. I like MGK. I like him. But he's also a guy who shows up in the WWE a lot. He's had some stuff.
I didn't, like you said, we were like, man, what's gonna happen? And then when you were like, oh, that's MGK, and he flips around and the camera pans, I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense.
Well, I was like, I just saw you. I mean, it's just. MGK's like 6'8", and he's a 6'8" skinny dude, and I'm like, okay, the sweatshirt's not doing you anything, dude. I can see you from a mile away.
Yeah,
that's MGK.
As soon as it panned, I was like, oh yeah, duh. Why didn't I know it was MGK? Like,
so Logan Paul makes a splash in terms of his entrance. So LA Knight, he makes an entrance, but it's backstage and it's in the Prime Jeep or Hummer or whatever it is. It's a big old car with Prime written all over it. LA Knight gets out. He's like, I drove this here, and I couldn't see out the windows because of the tent. And he pulls out a lead pipe, a big old pipe, and he smashes one of the windows. He almost doesn't. He goes the first hit on the window. it barely bent, and you could hear Pat McAfee in commentary go, uh-oh. And then LA Knight was like, screw it, and threw the whole thing and broke some windows. So he was pissed. He was coming out. And this match absolutely slapped. It slapped.
Uh-huh.
LA Knight brought the house at Logan Paul, and Logan Paul was not scared to give the house back. They were stiff. A lot of close spots that looked like people were going to get hurt or did get hurt. This was good stuff.
Yeah, before you go into it anymore, Triple H did say yesterday,
I didn't watch the press conference. I'm glad you're saying this.
As we'll get to it, Jacob Fatu as well later on, but Jacob Fatu and Logan Paul were both getting evaluated for injuries.
Oh yeah, Fatu's look bad.
So, and like we said during this match, I think Logan probably broke his nose.
Oh, 100%.
So
yeah, 100%. Anyway, the match would start hot. Logan Paul wouldn't let LA Knight do his whole entrance. Logan jumped him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of cool. They're both fighting in their vests at this point. Like LA Knight had his nice, Stone Cold LA Knight gear vest thing that we have. And then Logan Paul had the cool Mav.
Yeah, Cleveland Brown Mav looking.
American flag. Sick thing.
Super cool.
Yeah, it was cool. But Logan was spitting prime in LA Knight's face, and LA Knight would eventually get the upper hand. They'd go to the announce table, and LA Knight would do a neck breaker, like a neck breaker power bomb looking move on the announce table, but that thing wouldn't move.
No.
And I'm guessing that might be where Paul broke his nose, because he landed face first on this announce table.
Oh, did he? Did he land face first?
Yeah, because the move was he spun him off his shoulder face first. But anyway, like getting to the injury right away, like Logan Paul's had 2 black eyes the entire match, like that went all the way down. So we're guessing nose. But LA Knight would dominate early on here after this. Eventually, Logan Paul would get some offense off, throwing LA Knight into all the ring posts, literally one by one, getting the upper hand there. LA Knight would then kind of go through all of his moveset, hit a top rope elbow. Then LA Knight would get thrown out of the ring, and we get this massive moonsault or springboard moonsault from Logan Paul, where he's in the ring and in one jumps to the top rope while spinning 180 degrees, and then launches moonsaults off the top outside the ring onto LA Knight. Jesus, man, Logan, if you just showed up every week, you could be a freaking star.
It's one of the more impressive things I've seen. Like, think about the roster, just the roster of people that are there week in and week out.
Yeah.
There's maybe like 3 people that could do that move.
Right.
Like, most of that roster's not doing that.
And when the rebuttal online is always like, well, he's got freaking months to practice his matches. Totally fair. But
right.
Like, there's a difference between like being able to practice it and when the lights are brightest, going out there and freaking doing it.
Yeah. And I understand, like you said, he also has a bunch of time to practice those moves. They just look so smooth.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that's probably partially why, but it's like, golly, man.
We would then get a big right hand I call it the prime punch from Logan Paul. He hits him with it, but he kind of rolls out of the ring, not able to pin. They get back in the ring. LA Knight actually goes for a BFT that gets reversed, but when LA Knight's on the ground, Logan goes up for a top rope maneuver, guessing he was going to do a splash. But LA Knight runs up, jumps up clean, and he hits a superplex. But my lord, they almost didn't rotate enough, and it looked like LA Knight was about this close to killing Logan Paul there.
Yeah, definitely supposed to be a superplex, and it kind of turned into like a impromptu brainbuster thing that was not. I mean, it was rough.
Oh yeah, it was
real rough.
Buffoonery would then happen. Logan's posse started to get involved because every big event, Logan always brings somebody out.
What was that guy's name? Jake or something?
I don't know.
I know Michael Cole was just like, yeah, get that Jake guy, yeah, get him. He hates that guy.
It was a random Jake. We're gonna call him Jake. Probably the name wrong, but who knows? But there was a couple guys from Impulsive there, but they all ended up taking a little bit of bumps because LA Knight was like, you know what, I'm done with these guys. Threw him over the barricade. He was beating the whole hell out of him. Pat McAfee and Michael Cole were loving it. But in the midst of Logan Paul or of LA Knight worried about the posse, MGK would come over and take off his chain, which at the end of his chain actually had the brass knucks, which was kind of cool. I like the chain.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. But they were on the apron, so where the ref couldn't see him, and Logan Paul would get a hit with the brass knucks off, but they were on the apron, so it wasn't something to where he could pin him immediately. But Logan Paul would actually, how did this end up going out? So he hits Knights with the knucks. Logan would go for the So LA Knight would then stumble back into the ring, kind of like, oh, hazy. Logan would go for the buckshot. So he does it. Beautiful, by the way. Nailed it. But LA Knight catches him in the buckshot, puts him in the BFT. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight is your new U.S. champion. Yeah. Yeah. Thank God, man.
Yeah, thank God is right. These two put on a hard-hitting match. I mean, the matches themselves, all great. Well, I shouldn't say all, but most of the matches, all really good matches.
In terms of like in-ring, this is probably the best in-ring match of the night.
I really, really liked this one.
Which surprised, like LA Knight, Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Like LA Knight's had his critics about his in-ring, but I would argue this is the best match.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you like. It would either be this or Priest Gunther.
Yeah,
just because that was hard hitting.
You're right.
Too.
No, you're right. You're right.
So
that's definitely it.
This one was definitely hard hitting, but it also had a nice little mix of like new age acrobatic.
Yeah,
which a good mix. Like you don't need like with these two guys especially, got to have a little bit of a mix. Right guy won here,
100%,
1000%.
Yeah,
LA, we'll see what he does with that U.S. title. Now Logan can kind of go away for a little bit, but I thought this was a great send off. I mean, Logan admittedly hasn't really been on TV. He can still, like you said, practice his matches, but he puts on when he's in the ring, especially when they're big time, the SummerSlams, the Saudi shows, the Mania. Like, he always puts on for the big stage. And LA, I mean, this is long overdue. So,
yeah, long overdue. Yeah, I mean, first off, long overdue for LA Knight. Finally, he's given the accolade, the beginning of what needs to be the classic mid-card title, long, good feuds into a loss, shot into the main title scene. That needs to be his trajectory here because his in-ring work has just come in full circle. He's finally getting there as well. So all props to him. But in terms of Logan, I'm not going to stay on it very long, but he's having a kid. So we're assuming that he's going to be gone for a bit here. But man, I hope that the question at the end of this Logan Paul contract, whenever it does expire, I hope the question isn't what if he committed? Because man, if he does end up committing and being a WWE superstar, even if it's for a year, and we get like him on SmackDowns wrestling and constant good stuff, he could really be a great talent. So
yeah. I mean, you see it in the ring, and then some of the celebrity stuff, like maybe like Bad Bunny, right? Bad Bunny, I thought was pretty good in the ring, but he kind of can't speak on a mic, kind of can, kind of can't. Logan's a natural, obviously. And he plays that heel character so well. So it's like he's got all the elements of being a star.
He's a heel in real life. People actually hate him. So
all of the elements,
Anyway, we got ourselves Braun Breaker title. We got ourselves an LA title at this point. And we got the Liv Dom stuff. At this point, I'm like, this PLE is cooking for me.
This is great. Fantastic.
And then we go right into the second women's match of the night. It would be Nia Jax versus Bayley for that women's WWE title. And Nia Jax come out, no tiff.
Right.
No tiff. I was like, I was thinking maybe we'd have tiff the entire match and then there'd be a bunch of almost cash-ins, but that didn't happen. This match sucked the life out of the crowd, but it wasn't as bad as the crowd was making it look. They did just fine here.
Yeah, I was thinking about this afterwards last night. It's tough because you could say it's their own doing, but it's the feud that has the least amount of steam.
Yeah.
And then it's where it's positioned at on the card.
Yeah.
Like you have that banger of the LA Logan match, and then afterwards you have another fantastic match. So it's like you got to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, but it's also just like you could feel the energy at this point from the crowd was just like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But early on, it was the classic Nia stuff where her opponent just can't get her down. Can't overpower her. She's just too big. She's too strong. Mm-hmm. They would eventually spill outside where Bayley was able to kind of use her surroundings to get the upper hand. She would do the thing where she like runs and jumps off the steel steps and like elbows her. She would would actually get Nia back in the ring and put her in a guillotine, which was pretty cool to see. Like that, it's a smart thing that's been happening during Nia matches where her opponent is just like, okay, I'm not going to be able to pin you, so let's just try to submit you in any way possible. So I kind of like that. But it was reversed into Nia would roll out of it, and then she would do like a running roll on top of Bayley, and then she would do a leg drop on top of Bayley. Mm-hmm. A little acrobatics here from Nia.
Yeah, she'd do that. She's in the guillotine, and then she like lifts her up and like face buster or whatever.
Nia also would send her over, like do her. She would do her Samoan drop like 4 or 5 times on Bayley throughout this match, which, like, I thought that was a finisher at one point, but not anymore for Nia.
Well, like you said too, she did the leg drop and she did a rolling swanton bomb. Like she was Jeff Hardy, Kevin Owens, and Hulk Hogan all into one.
She's getting better and better. You know, she is as much hate as she gets. She's getting better and better. Nia would then go for a second turnbuckle leg drop, misses it. My hole. Bayley would put her in a Bayley to belly, which admittedly is a very rough finisher as is. But when your opponent's big to the point where you can't actually get her up, it looks really, really bad. Yikes. Mm-hmm. The Bayley to belly obviously didn't work. 1, 2, ooh. We would get an Annihilator onto Bayley. Mm-hmm. She hit her with an Annihilator, and we're all like, nobody kicks out the Annihilator. Mm-mm. Bayley did it. Mm-hmm. Bayley kicks out the Annihilator, making Bayley look nice and strong here. We get a Bayley suicide dive that was caught on the outside. She caught the suicide dive into a Samoan drop, and then we get some cool stuff happening. So Nia would pull Bayley back into the ring, would go for an Annihilator, but Bayley would pop up before she could do it, and Bayley picked Nia Jax up and walked with her for like 4 or 5 steps into the center of the ring. Power bomb from Bayley. They're both laying down. Tiffy time. Tiffy music hits. Mm-hmm. Brand new briefcase and all. She's got another ref with her? Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's already a ref in the match.
Well, you got to run out with a ref, And then you got to be like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, but she was running out with another ref, and I was like, what the? Mm-hmm. But whatever. She comes to the ring. But the second she gets on the apron, Bayley already had taken care of that. Bayley walks over and smacks her right in the mouth. No cash in from Tiffy at that moment. Then we get Nia Bayley would turn around, Nia was there. Power bomb. Pulls Bayley over. Annihilator. Back up on the rope. A second Annihilator. 1, 2, 3. Nia wins. She is the new champion. Tiff doesn't even think about cashing in after that. So no cash in. Nia takes the belt. You basically called that 1 for 1. New champion. This ended up being great, but it's now the end of another, I would say, disappointing Bayley championship run.
Yeah, and I don't really know what happens with her after that.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I guess, my takeaway for her.
I mean, Tiffy got evolved, so I'm guessing they run this back.
Yeah, maybe so, but even then, I mean, she's gonna lose again. And then what do you do?
Yeah.
But in terms of the match itself, I thought the match was passable. Yeah. Like I said, it did its job. It was the worst one of the night, but also all the other matches were really good.
Yeah, right.
All the other feuds leading into this all had a bunch of steam behind them.
Yep.
So this one, you could have penciled it in being kind of the worst one. Plus the crowd, like you said, they kind of felt like later on, as we'll get into with the main event, like you could tell the crowd was just waiting for Tiffy to cash in. So they're just kind of just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then when her music hits, everybody erupts.
Big pop.
Right person won here. I'm super excited to see the dynamic with the women's title and the briefcase. Same team, best friends. That's going to be great.
I mean, we both knew on SmackDown when they gave Tiffy a personalized briefcase. I was like, shit, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
They gave her a personalized briefcase. Ain't no chance she cashes that in one day.
And I pulled it up online, as we're watching, and you have the pink briefcase, and then there's an autographed, just normal white one. And I was like, yep.
They're not. No.
Yep. Nope. No, they're not. But
it might be months because they're going to sell those things.
Yeah. And, I think that's probably the better way to go about it because you can do that slow face turn for Tiffany that they've already kind of teased a little bit.
Yep.
So sign me up. This is great. And Nia has been getting better as a heel.
It's also a first. Like, that's a first in terms of WWE storytelling where, like, the tag team, the team has the champion and the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So that's just going to be a cool dynamic to see. I don't know how they're going to play it. Like, it's cool. Like how often is Tiffy gonna? How often is Tiffy gonna look at Nia and be like, oh, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun.
Yeah. And how do they book it? I mean, I'm assuming maybe they'll do some more tag matches, and do they tease it in during the tag matches? Like how often? Like you said, it's interesting. This combined with what we'll talk about in a little bit, kind of brought some life back to me for SmackDown as a whole.
Yeah, SmackDown looks a lot better after tonight, for sure. Next match, we would get our CM Punk, Drew McIntyre with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. They would each get their long entrances. Seth would come out looking like Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, modern day Shawn.
Yeah, modern day Shawn is what his refereeing attire looks like. Bedazzled, cut off,
and Drew came out looking like Taker.
Yep, and CM Punk came out looking like Bret Hart. We were like, oh, 97 SummerSlam.
And then they reference it on the commentary, and you're like, oh, okay, so they know that we know that everybody knows, you know, which I guess is kind of cool. Like, I like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, hell yeah.
I like how they acknowledge those things now.
Hell yeah. But obviously, Punk and McIntyre, we've been waiting since Mania, before Mania, for this matchup. And the second the bell rings, they go to town. They go to absolute town on each other. One thing I do want to talk about is that even during their entrances, both McIntyre and Punk at some point in their entrances kind of insulted Seth Rollins. So right away there was a middle ground there with in terms of Punk being, or Rollins being, he could have disrespect toward both of them. Anyway, early on, Rollins Punk would get Drew McIntyre and he was stomping away in the corner. Rollins would pull him off.
Yeah, he counts to 5.
Counts to 5, says, look, dude, I'm trying to make this a wrestling match. Let's not get carried away. Being a good ref. Then the table would flip. Drew McIntyre would be stomping. CM Punk in the corner. Other corner. 5 seconds. Pulls him off. I'm trying to be a good ref. Points to the shirt. Fight would then spill outside. And Seth wouldn't count. He was doing the thing where he was laying on the ropes. He was chilling. Drew McIntyre, it was Drew McIntyre had CM Punk, or no, which one was it? Someone was banging somebody's head.
Punk had Drew's
head. Punk had Drew's head. Drew was sitting, leaning toward the steel steps, and Punk was just sitting there bashing his head into the steps. And Punk would look up to Rollins, and Rollins was kind of just like, yeah, and he'd turn around. And he'd keep bashing his head into the steel steps. Good stuff. Eventually, Drew would get the upper hand and have Punk in the middle of the ring just kind of dead. Rollins would have this be a good moment between Rollins and Drew where Rollins was like, you said you were going to kill the man. He's still breathing. What are you doing here? And so Drew was like, all right, piece of shit, talking against me. And he'd go get a chair. Yeah. And Seth Rollins would look at him like, oh, come on, this is supposed to be a match. And Drew would plead his case. He's basically like, he's not supposed to be here. He left the company. Like, he says all this stuff. Like, he shouldn't be here.
He's basically like, if you want this as bad as I do, you'll turn your back and you'll let me do what I need to do, basically.
Yeah. And Rollins eventually was like, you right.
Yeah.
You right.
I thought that was really nice. I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah. And he turns, and we think, and then Drew would wind up a big old chair shot, and Seth would actually jump on it, and he'd steal the chair. He wouldn't allow it to happen. Would not allow it to happen. And Drew would shove Rollins for it. He'd just push his face, and Rollins would get pissed and go for a chair shot on Drew. Drew would move out of the way, and he would almost hit CM Punk, and he'd pull up on it.
Yep.
And, CM Punk didn't see the whole conversation. So Punk was like, what the hell, bro?
Yeah, and Seth's like, that's not for you. That's not for you, which is the shades of 97 sprinkled in again, Yeah,
it was exactly a 97 SummerSlam thing. Drew would then pulls out the Punk bracelet. He pulls it out of his shorts, puts it on, and now we have even more fire in the match. He would go for a Claymore, but it gets reversed. We would then get 2 of the running corner knees thing from Punk. I don't know what he calls that move where they're in the corner and he does the running knee.
It's just like a high knee or something.
Yeah, but he'd go for another one. He'd get reversed, but CM Punk would end up getting in the middle of the ring. He'd hit the top rope elbow, the Macho Man elbow, and then he'd put Drew in the Anaconda Vice. And while he was doing it, he wasn't worried about winning. He was worried about getting that bracelet off. So he gets the bracelet off Drew, but not on CM Punk. It would fall on the ground. Drew would get out of this Claymore, and while they're both laying there, Seth Rollins sees the bracelet, and Seth Rollins is like, oh, this thing's just laying around. I'm going to pick it up. And he picks it up, not to spite CM Punk, but he puts it on. And when CM Punk gets the upper hand on Drew, he sees Seth Rollins. He ends up getting Drew in the GTS, and he turns and looks at Rollins, sees the bracelet on Rollins, and he's like, what the hell? He drops Drew. And he's like, what are you doing with my freaking bracelet, bro? And Seth's like, dude, I picked it up off the ground. He's trying to plead his case. But Seth Rollins ain't having it. Seth Rollins, or CM Punk ain't having it. CM Punk's like, screw you. Gets Seth Rollins up and gets him with a GTS. GTS to Rollins' face. When that happens, he tries to take the bracelet, or Punk picks up the bracelet, turns around, looks at Drew, walks over to Drew, and Drew kicks him right in the nuts.
Square in the nuts.
Square in the nuts, as Cartman would say. Right in the nuts. Then another Claymore kick to CM Punk. And because Rollins is a wrestler and not a ref, he was not ref bumped out of this match. Drew would go for the pin. Rollins would count. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre wins this match. He takes the bracelet after the match as well. So that continues. CM Punk's 10-year on television drought is over, but it starts with a loss. This was great stuff. Great storytelling.
Yeah. Just everybody was, I think, most excited for this match, at least from what we've seen.
Yep.
And it delivered on every end of it. I thought Rollins played the referee part perfectly. Punk looked good for his first time really back in a match in WWE. Drew has been on fire, as always. You have the ending there where Rollins is counting 3 and he, counts to 2, and you kind of see like a quick look at Drew, like, I don't like you either.
Yep.
Like, I'm pissed at you. But he counts to 3. The bracelet element, like, we're going to get this in a triple threat, and I'm not going to be upset about it. I guess that really answers our question of, like, what are they going to do with whoever wins this? Well, they're just going to run it back again.
Yeah, because there was no actual screwage. Like, Rollins ended up screwing nobody. He was pissed at both of them throughout the match. He defied both of them. But at the end, one of the actual competitors, aka CM Punk, did more damage to him, so he counted against him. So there was there are actions and consequences in the match, and
which is what they've been saying.
Yep, exactly.
The entire through line of the rivalry. And when on Raw they were talking about the rules and regulations, and I was like, man, I would really like him to lean one way or the other. I guess it was just a preview of this match. Like, he wasn't going to do that, and it was kind of nice to see that.
Yeah, what does have me interested is going forward in terms of if we get a triple threat match. You would think now that Rollins and Drew would kind of team up a little bit toward Punk, because Drew never actually laid his full hands on Rollins. Like, we got the shove, but he never claymored him and never punched him or anything like that. So, like, Punk literally tried to injure Rollins during the match while Drew didn't. So I think, like, now Rollins kind of has clear reason to lean more into hurting Punk from here on out. So
yeah, which is fair.
Yeah,
but I think if you do the triple threat and that is the case, then I think you got to give Punk the win at that point.
Yes, Punk's getting the win on the next one.
So who knows? I mean,
unless they each get a win.
I don't know how soon they're going to run this back.
Yeah,
but I'm here for it.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, we'll see. We would then get another quick priest.
Probably Bash. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah.
Well, something's happening. I don't know if it's triple threat or Bash, but we'll see.
3 weeks away or whatever.
Priest and Finn backstage again. Finn's like, I couldn't find Dom. I couldn't find Rhea. I think they both just freaking left. Like, I think Dom got the hell out of here, and I think Rhea's pissed and just left. And Priest was like, you know what? I apologize for earlier getting into your face. I'm just pissed. And Finn's like, I agree. I'm going to apologize to you too. Just all being all worked up. And he goes, if you need me out there tonight, I'll be out there. And Priest's like, I appreciate it. I don't need it.
Yeah. And one thing I noticed in this one that I guess I didn't mention when we were watching it live is with the Judgment Day stuff specifically, they always have those little Easter eggs in the back. And WWE does it as a whole now. But in the top of the locker, you see like Finn's shoes, and it says Prince Devitt on the back of them. Right then and there, I was like, oh. And I said, oh no. Not good for our Damien pick.
This is obviously our most anticipated match tonight, because we are such big Damien fans, and we are such big Judgment Day fans, and Judgment Day already had a big spill-off.
And we like Gunther.
And we love Gunther, and the cracks had already been made. Dom had already left Judgment Day, so Judgment Day is starting to fall apart here. What the hell is going to happen to our champion? And this match was freaking phenomenal. I know earlier I almost said the Logan Paul match, but I totally forgot about this one. This match was a 10 out of 10 for me personally. I love when big dudes are stiff working and hitting the hell out of each other. And that's exactly what we got here.
Yeah, this is your type of wrestling.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
1,000%.
Damian came out pissed. His character was just, I'm mad. Judgment Day is falling apart. You call me street trash. Been talking shit for weeks. He's just over the moon pissed. And he showed out for it, man. He absolutely showed out. This was easily the best Damian Priest in-ring performance ever in his entire career. For WWE, I haven't watched any of his other stuff in the indies, but good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
They came out attacking absolutely fast. Damian would smack the hell out of him. They'd spill out of the ring. He would do an elbow. He'd do the kind of thing where Bayley did, where he ran off the steel steps and jumped up and clothesline / elbowed Gunther.
Yeah, it was in like the back of the neck.
Yeah, it was weird. It was weird. I mean,
that looked like it stung.
And he was swinging. And they both, I mean, they must have chopped each other 100 times throughout this match, and each chop just got louder and louder.
Chops and kicks and just headbutts and everything, man.
Yeah, I mean, they got to the point where both of their chests were bleeding. Like, Gunther's was bleeding. Like, he was bleeding down his entire chest. I mean, Damian was just kind of open here and there, but Gunther was literally bloody down his chest, and he kept... He would wipe it, and then he'd wipe his hair with it. He was getting pissed at it,
which is I always like when they do that.
No, yeah, it was awesome. It's awesome. Priest would hit a top rope Frankensteiner. Just that happened.
Yeah.
He would hit a Frankensteiner and then get him up and put him in the broken arrow. 1, 2, ooh on that one. We would also get a South of Heaven throughout the match. 1, 2, ooh there. Gunther was just not going down. Gunther would get the momentum. He's doing clotheslines, suplexes, spinning lariats. He would do kicks. He would do some kicks from Gunther that would get Damian like top chest toward the throat, even when like he was even selling it like he got him in the throat. But the entire time that he's kicking and chopping Damian's on his knees and he's just begging for more. He's like, freaking bring it, man. Let's do this. And he brought it. But without any music or any big run-in, camera cuts, and Finn Balor is on the outside of the ring.
Yeah, which he kind of always sneaks out there.
Yeah.
Like Cameo or Judgment Day. Like,
there just wasn't a big camera angle of him like running in to help or anything. But he just kind of shows up. But he's doing the thing where he's just kind of patting the ring and boosting his boy up, Damian Priest. Gunther is dominating this at this point, and he's looking at Finn. He's like, is this your champ? He's talking shit to Finn while he's beating the hell out of Damian. Damian would then rally, go for the clothesline. He did a giant clothesline. He would get Gunther up for a razor's edge, and he would absolutely nail it. And then he'd get him up for a South of Heaven. But when he hits the South of Heaven, Gunther kind of hits it sideways and rolls toward the rope. And at this point, he just hit a razor's edge. He just hit a South of Heaven. Gunther is on. He's on.
Yeah, and this is right after Gunther reaches through or puts his leg through and kind of kicks Finn.
Yeah.
So he kicks Finn, and then it gives Damian that opening to hit those moves.
Yep. So because Damian's mad about it. But he hits the razor's edge, hits the South of Heaven, goes for the pin. It looks like Gunther's dead. 1, 2, and Finn Balor pops up and puts Gunther's foot on the rope. Camera pans, and Finn has like the demon Balor face. Like he's completely back to that old character. The face work is crazy. And the ref counts it 2, and Damian's like, what the hell? He didn't kick out. What happened? Turns around, sees the foot, and then he does something really smart. Looks to the video board. Mm-hmm. He turns around, he looks up, and they show the replay, and he's like, you motherfucker. He goes right after Finn Balor, and he grabs him, or he tries to grab him, but Gunther, before he grabs him, puts him in the sleeper hold that Gunther beat Finn with on Monday. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, it's over. And right before the ref walks over to move his arm to see if it's over, Damian is hulking up. Mm-hmm. He's hulking up. And he breaks out of it, shoves Gunther off, but instead of going for Gunther, goes after Finn, and he grabs Finn by the neck. And it's this great scene.
Yeah, he rolls that. He does that little like backflip thing.
Yeah.
Where the back somersault thing where he gets the pin and he gets that 2 count.
Yeah, he gets the 2 count.
Which I was like... We've seen that move, I don't know how many times, but I'm like, ooh, he's going to win. He's going to win. And he kicks out.
I mean, our whole house is going crazy at this point, too. So he gets the 1-2, he rolls out of the choke, gets the 1-2, ooh, but then just pushes Gunther to the side, grabs Finn. He's like through the ropes, grabbing Finn by the neck, just screaming at him. Great scene. I mean, phenomenal. But he should have focused on Gunther, because Gunther would then get him in the chokehold again. But this time, Damian would go out. Ref would do the one. It's stupid. We need to have the ref doing 3 arm drops like back in the day. 1 arm drop is bullshit, okay? We need 3 arm drops. But 1 arm drop, boom. Damian Priest is out. Gunther with the help of Finn Balor, wins the World Heavyweight Championship. Finn Balor has turned. The Judgment Day is now probably no more.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about the match itself. Super hard-hitting. Great match. Fantastic match. I know some people don't like Gunther's in-ring work because it is just chops and slaps and chops and slaps. He's a big dude, hard-hitting guy. And like you said, Priest, great showing. Best showing probably. Really made me sad.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Honestly. I mean, we thought Priest was kind of that transitional champion, and it's been about 4 months that he's had the belt, and you can feel the crowd, at least in this match and on Raw. Like, the crowd is behind Damian now. They've perfected it where they've slowly turned him back into a face.
Yeah, dude, that was the crowd wanted Damian to win. Like, they were behind him for the first time. They were really giving him pops for everything he was doing, and I was like, "Oh, our boy, they're there, And they just cut our heart out.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. We always talk about, like, well, this feud doesn't need a belt. This feud doesn't need a belt. The Finn Damian one doesn't need one, but we would have liked to see that just with our hearts, right? We would have been like, man, I like this. Gunther, I was a little honestly surprised. It makes sense because they're going to do Bash at Berlin, but I was a little surprised because they do typically have that guy challenge and he loses first.
Yeah.
But Gunther's just a different specimen.
Yeah.
I mean, he's different. Triple H loves him. Everybody, at least most part, loves Gunther. He's doing some really good character work in terms of the actual heel side of things. So, I guess I wasn't surprised about it, but dang it, I'm a little upset.
Yeah, I love Damian Priest. I think that this has been one of the best, like you said, transitional champs that they have just done the right stuff with, to the point where he's now a top guy. He is a top guy. Feels like a great champion. This match helped him in every way. Even after losing, you definitely look at Damian Priest with brighter eyes. Like, you look at him like, okay, he is a bigger threat. Like, he hulked out of that choke. He was trying to handle. I mean, he dominated Gunther most of this match. He was taking hits and he was giving them back. He was working to that level. He didn't back down.
The fact that he cut Gunther open like that, like you said, you get some red chest, some little, like, maybe like almost scab openings sort of thing. But to see it like dripping down his chest and body and stuff, it's like, well, I can't tell you the last time I've seen that with Gunther. So
yeah,
that was legitimacy.
I'm sad for multiple reasons because our boy lost the title, but I'm also like, Judgment Day's gone, man. Like, what does Mondays look like?
I think so. I kind of mentioned it a little bit, I guess, when we were watching it. I don't think Judgment Day is gone necessarily. I think it's just a new Judgment Day.
Well, JD has to be with Finn here.
Mm-hmm. I think JD, Finn, Carlito, Liv, and Dom are like the new Judgment Day.
Really?
So I think you just kick Priest and Rhea out. And you said, what does that look like? I think now we're going to have a Dom, Finn, Liv versus Priest, Rhea, Jay sometime.
Yeah.
Probably Berlin, I would assume, maybe. But
I wonder if you bring anybody else in. Like, if Damian and Rhea, or if they're just both so OP and overpowered that you're able to just use them and just say, go at the entirety of the other four or whatever it is. But
yeah. And I think the earlier in the night when, Dom does turn on Rhea, we have seen Finn and Rhea getting into it. So I think that was kind of like a foregone conclusion. Dom can be like, look, Finn, like, we both wanted the same thing, sort of thing. So, because Dom also, him and Priest haven't been getting along.
Yeah, right.
So I think that's pretty much the new Judgment Day. And it's just gonna be good. It's gonna be, as much as you say, I don't know what really happens. Like, the more I talk about just the new Judgment Day, I'm like, yeah, you can sign me up.
Can't wait for Monday, man. Can't wait for Monday. But then we get a fun little segment here with the host Miz and R-Truth. They would come out and they had announced that the 57,000 people were at SummerSlam. Pretty freaking good. Not a bad night, I'm guessing, in terms of some moolah. A-Town Down Under would come out and kind of just crap on Cleveland, crap on the Miz, talking that smack. They would turn to Jelly Roll, who's in the crowd, and he said, "Jelly Roll, you are successful at one thing. You're the only guy in this arena with worse music than R-Truth."
Yeah, and then Grayson Waller stops because MGK is right next to Jelly Roll, and he's like, "Yeah, MGK, you're not much far behind that either." Yeah, and I was like, that was nice.
But Miz and R-Truth end up talking back and forth because R-Truth says something stupid, and A-Town Down Under is like involved in that, and you see Jelly Roll, big old man, sneak into.
I think he called him the Rock and Roll Express because they're in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Ricky Morton and oh god, I'm gonna forget the other guy's name.
No idea.
Well,
anyway,
it's before your time, sir.
Jelly Roll would somehow sneak into the ring with a chair.
It didn't really sneak. With the camera cut, you could see Jelly Roll in the background. He waltzes up the stairs.
Yeah, Jelly Roll ends up hitting both guys with chairs. He has Theory first, and then Waller, and you can tell that he kind of chokes up on the first hit because he's unsure about it, and then he's like, "Oh, that was fun," and then he smacks the hell out of Grayson Waller with it.
He smacked him, and it was nice because like he does the thing that you see like actual wrestlers do, where they kind of get off the ground.
Yeah,
and he like the feet with the chair at the same time. I was like, "That's nice, Jelly Roll." Yeah, like it was solid.
So he hits them both, but then he's not done. He gets Austin Theory up, and he chokeslam him, and Austin Theory sold for this man. He jumped 30 feet in the sky. It looked like goddamn Prime Kane from Jelly Roll. He chokeslammed him through the cement, and then funny moment, The Miz, R-Truth, and Jelly Roll all hit a 15 knuckle shuffle, I guess, on Austin Theory. So a fun little thing.
In terms of the one little point, and then we'll go on to the big stuff. The choke slam itself, like
amazing.
Props to Theory. Like I know Kane, obviously, I love the Kane choke slam. The height, it makes me think of when Lesnar and Taker.
Yes,
but like. This is Jelly Roll. Like,
it's Jelly Roll and Austin Theory, man.
So Theory and Jelly Roll's not that big of a guy, like height-wise.
Yeah.
And Theory good God.
Props to Jelly Roll, though. He was doing it all. So, but we would get our main event. The thing that everybody's been waiting for. What is going to happen here? We would get the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa, taking on the undisputed champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And Solo would come out first, and then Cody wasn't even ready. He was just sitting in he was sitting in the Cody Express, the RV, man. He wasn't in his jacket or anything yet. He's just sitting there drinking his, Wheatley vodka?
Oh, my God. As much as I love Cody, I was like, holy, like a 15-minute entrance.
Yeah. He was taking his time. So he would leave his RV with Pharaoh, his dog. He's walking in the ring with Pharaoh, and then he would turn, hand the dog to some random guy in the back.
Yeah, he only walks like halfway.
And there's freaking Arn Anderson there. I thought he was going to give the man a Glock. But Arn Anderson was like, don't worry. I know you agreed to this bloodline rule match, but you got friends and they're on their way. That's all Arn Anderson really says. When he points up, he does the whole like Dusty's looking down on you thing kind of too. But then he goes to like the dressing area and he gets his jacket on and his helmet. But he walks out, cool ass helmet, cool ass intro.
As much as I'm like, damn, this entrance took so long. The shot of him backstage with the jacket on, and then he puts the helmet on from the back. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
It's like Iron Man level stuff.
I'm like, that's so sweet.
Whoa is huge, big stuff, big popping. Our biggest worries about this main eventing was always, can Solo keep up? That was our thing. Like. As great as this rivalry has been and the bloodline stuff can be, and we know what's coming, hopefully, eventually there's got to be a portion of the match where it's just a match with these two guys, and can Solo put on a quality level that can make it main event worthy. And I'm going to give him his flowers. I thought Solo did phenomenal in this match.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it when we were watching the Samoan drops alone.
Yeah.
They were super nice.
They were like Samoan suplexes.
Yeah. But he was like throwing them around and being the more physical guy like that he needs to be.
And Cody was selling it, and he would roll out of the ring after Solo did a few moves, and he'd have to get back. Like he'd have to like sit there and be like, okay, woof. Okay, this guy has it. Cody was doing the job, putting Solo over as being a threat. Yep. Which was really, really, really nice. They would actually start the match off doing like a test of strength early, and Cody would lose it. Solo would kind of just throw up the one as Cody would roll out. So Solo was being booked obviously as this strong guy here. Cody would then do a suicide dive, and he tries to I don't know what I wrote here. Anyway, it ended up in a Samoan drop. By this time, I was writing a lot of notes, and I was enjoying the matches, and we might have been having a drink or two. So, we're going for
the Wheatley.
So good, you drink it neatly. Not sponsored. Solo would end up going for a spike. It was reversed into a Cody cutter. He would hit a couple of those, actually, while the match was still going. Cody would go hit the bionic elbow, and then he would go for another Cody cutter, but then Solo would catch him into a massive power bomb. Solo would actually hit this massive rock bottom, like this massive. Like I wish The Rock would throw it that way.
Yeah, we talk about how second Kane reference, and Kane's not even on the card. How Kane used to cock people back for the choke slam. That was what it was. He cocked him so far back, and he did a 180 and hit it. I was like, okay, that was nice.
That makes the rock bottom look 10 times better. It really does. But they went 1-2 ooh it. A lot of close counts here. We'll get into that. But these guys were kind of Superman during this match.
One of them.
Both of them.
One of them more than the other.
Yeah, but eventually Cody would go for a top rope move, but Solo would reverse it in time to where Cody was hanging down, right? So his feet were caught the top rope, and he was laying backwards, hanging down. And Solo would hit 2 running, diving headbutts. He would go for a third, and obviously he would miss the third time.
Yeah, you should know not to do 3.
Yeah, never go for 3. Come on. But cool thing ended up happening here. So Cody would kind of hulk up, get all of his moves off, but Solo would reverse one midway through, and Solo would have Cody in a crossroads. He had him in it, but Cody would, that's his move, and Cody would reverse it into his own crossroads.
Just a slick little reversal.
Yeah.
Just seamless.
And we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. It is Bloodlines rule match. And when Cody hits the crossroads, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, they show up. And they attack the hell out of Cody Rhodes. And they ended up getting him in they did their own tag team crossroads where one guy was holding his feet while, I don't know, I don't remember who was on whose side, but while the
Tonga Loa had the feet.
Probably, because Tama Tonga is the more kind of threatening guy. But they would hit a tag team crossroads.
Yeah, it's like a wheelbarrow crossroads thing. I don't remember what
that's a good way to call it. Yeah, a wheelbarrow crossroads. But it's a lot of damage. They put Solo on top of him, 1-2 ooh. Cody was like, no, I ain't going out that way. But
Cody remembered we haven't got to the cool stuff
exactly. Yet. He's like, no, not yet. But right when he kicks out, not before he kicks out, but after he kicks out, so they allowed the pin. Kevin Owens' music hits, and he's injured, so he's hobbling out there while he's running because obviously the Bloodline's been terrorizing them and they're hurt. He goes in there, he starts attacking Tama and Tonga. Solo at this point is just kind of laying there, getting his breath back and acting like he's been taking some damage. But while he did a good job doing it, eventually the numbers game outplayed him, and when the numbers game started to outplay him, Randy Orton's music hits. He's running the ring, but he's making sure to high fives people on the way. It reminded me of Jeff Hardy. Yeah, when he's hitting the
when Matt's getting attacked, Jeff Hardy's like, "Let me hit my dance moves first." That's what Orton just casual jog. Let me high five them. I'm surprised he didn't stop and sign somebody.
Get in the ring, Orton. They're getting their ass whooped.
I wish they would have drove. I thought about this randomly when they were running out. I wish they would have drove down the golf cart.
Yeah,
just cause.
Why not? Why not? Anyway, per usual, Orton's and Owens own those people. So
they should just go for the tag titles.
Yeah. So they end up. Orton hits Tonga Loa with an RKO,
which we give Tonga Loa a lot of crap, deservedly so. But he sold that really well.
He sold it well. Kevin Owens would hit Tama Tonga with a stunner, and then Cody would hit a crossroads, I think, or which one was it? All three of them. No. Cody gets the steel steps and hits Solo because Orton and Owens, they leave with Tama Tonga. They hit their finishers and they spill out into the crowd, and they all just kind of
they fight back towards backstage again.
Cody hits. Ends up getting steel steps because he's like, okay, now it's back to me and Solo. I need to put this guy out for good. And he goes and gets the steel steps like he did against AJ Styles. Throws it in the ring. He hits him twice. On the third time, he picks it over his head, leaving room for Solo to give him a gold spear. Speared the hell out of him. 1-2, ooh.
And the steps go flying.
The steps go flying. It was really nice.
I like that.
It was a 1-2, ooh. These guys are kicking out of literally everything that gets put in front of them. Literally everything. Solo goes to headbutt or do the running butt tackle, whatever. I don't know what they call it. Where he had Cody laying on the steel steps in the corner, and he was going to do the running thing where they turn their butt and hit him with it. I don't know what you call it. Butt tackle is what I call it. But Cody moves, and when he moves, he hits 2 crossroads on him because you can't put a guy out at 1 crossroads. It's gotta be 3 of them.
Well, I mean he took Roman out with the 3, so if it's the new tribal chief, you know, I guess that's probably where they were going with it.
And right before he was able to get the third one off, that madman's there, Jacob Fatu. He enters the ring and he is just doing his normal 100 miles an hour destruction of humans. And he kicks Cody in the back of the head. He would Samoan drop him. He would then do the top rope moonsault. And Solo looked at him and was like, table. Fatu dragged him out of the ring, put him on the table. Fatu splash off the top rope outside the ring, threw the table on Cody. And unfortunately, it looked like Fatu actually got injured on that, though. He hit his ankle / knee / leg on the corner of the table.
I'm not sure. It's tough because he gets help backstage from the refs.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you think about it, like the way he sold it looks like an injury. But also with what happens, like you think about it, he can't just be standing up.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know.
He was selling like he was freaking hurt, though.
Mm-hmm. He does come up a little short, so it's like...
He does come up a little short. But here's the thing. So Cody just took a moonsault, which pinned DIY just a couple days ago. He then would take an outside the ring splash through a talent table. Mm-hmm. They would then throw him in the ring. Mm-hmm. And Solo would do a solo splash off the top rope. Mm-hmm. 1, 2, ooh, Cody kicks out of it. Mm-hmm. Huh? How you gonna beat this man?
The solo splash was nice.
You
got some hang time?
Solo would then get pissed here, and he would try to get Cody up for the spike, but Cody was like so injured that he dropped to his knees. Psych! He was faking it. He dropped to his knees, said psych, immediately ran over to the turnbuckle, did a top rope Cody cutter. They're both laying in the middle of the ring.
Just looks so good.
Everything's quiet. They're both face down. Boom! The music hits. The tribal chief, the one true chief, or the original tribal chief. I like one true chief way better. Roman Reigns returns here. Crowd is popping. And we're like, okay, what's he going to do? And he gets about 50 feet from the ring. And he's like, nope, I'm not thinking about this. Sprints into the ring. Quickly does the Superman punches Solo. Goes to the corner. Hits the loudest ooh ah. The crowd just... go watch that. Whoa level ooh ah. Huge spear onto Solo Sikoa. Gets up. Cody's laying in the corner like, oh shit. Uh-huh. And Roman looks at him and just kind of angrily, but calmly, just gives Cody a nod, like, I'm coming for you, but not right now type deal. Gets out of the ring. Cody crossroads to Solo. 1, 2, 3. Cody Rhodes retains. Roman Reigns returns. Woo! Man, oh man, this is good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. And just the ending as well. Like you said, the little nod. Cody hitting the crossroads and staring at Roman while he pins Solo. Just the little things you're like, sign me up. I want to see it now, you know?
Yeah. Because Cody was like, he was kind of like, I don't know what's happening. Like, please don't come back in this ring after me. But like, thank you at the same time. Oh,
yeah. So just fantastic stuff. The match itself was really good. Like you said, a little too many kickouts for me from both sides.
A lot,
especially Cody. We know Cody's not dropping the belt anytime soon, but it's just like, how much can you take?
To me, it was like when you're going to have run-ins, why not have the run-ins occur to where they don't have the pin gets. Like, don't pin. Like, just let the music hit and have the guy, like, look instead of pin. Like, to me, it does way better than, like, these guys taking so much damage and kicking out first.
Or what you could do is, what they did, but you could have done it multiple times, where they go to hit, like, a finisher, and instead of going for the pin, they just both fall down. Like, they're so exhausted. They just lay there, They could have done that. God, as for the Roman, we talk about it, Cody being, like, the secondary part of this. Oh boy, did it sure feel secondary this time.
Dude, Roman's return was so good. It was so good. And the thing was, we sat there and we're like, are they going to do an in-game thing where like they have Jimmy return and Jay return? Nope, they went right for the Chief, and he was there to take care of business. He did it quickly, made his point clear, and I thought it did the job better than probably an in-game level stuff would have done. Like it just made more sense to me.
Yeah, we definitely thought, how do you pencil all these people in? How do you do this? How do you do that? Well, I guess now you start with the Chief. The Chief's going to need some help.
Yeah.
So now you can do it that way, which, like you said, 1,000 times more effective.
Yeah, it would also, it gives babyface level sympathy to Roman too, if he's coming out and he is going to get kind of he is now kind of the underdog in this situation, and when like I like the idea of the big dog or like the biggest guy, the tribal chief, him not having enough gas in the tank to take out this new thing. So it's like instead of him, leading over these guys and being a dictator, he's now going to be like, Jay, I need you, man, and Jimmy, I need you, man, and stuff like that. That's going to be cool to see if they do it that way.
Yeah, which is how they
should.
They should. And I think they probably will, because they've been, at least with this story, as much as we've said, like the Bloodline 2.0 is kind of dragged on and like, God, this kind of sucked at times, admittedly. Yeah. Solo did his job about making us miss Roman. And now you get it where like they don't miss with this when Roman's on TV.
No.
They do it exactly how it needs to be, and it's masterpiece every time.
And I'm not gonna lie, I think this match did wonders for Solo as well, though. Like I think as much as I hated the kickouts, because I did, but Solo throughout the match looked strong here, and Cody did a really good job of making Solo feel like an equal, like not Roman level tribal chief, but Solo belonged in the ring with Cody during that match, and that was something to where I hadn't bought in on it yet in terms of Solo just as a character by himself.
Yeah, they did their job, and I mean Fatu obviously looked super strong, as he should. Hopefully he's not hurt. If he is, hopefully it's not very long. But
God, that would take the wind out of the sails if Fatu is actually hurt, though, man. Oh, he's so good. He's so good.
Yeah,
like he is the wild card in all this.
Yeah,
and seeing like Roman pin Fatu is going to be a big deal too,
or the other way around.
Yeah, or the other way, something like that, right? Yeah,
like I'm excited for that. So yeah, I mean, I think as much as I hope that it's just a storyline based, because it's like you can't have him hit that move and then Roman comes out and Fatu's just like standing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
It's like it makes sense, but God, it looked bad.
And I didn't know. You said the Triple H said that they were both being evaluated. Like the reason why I think it might kind of be real is because Logan Paul has obviously had an injury, and like both his eyes are black. Yeah, and he obviously something's up with the face. Right. So, penciling him in there with Logan in that sentence, I'm like, hopefully it's nothing. But if it's just like a little ankle injury, that's something where you can just have him stand there for a couple weeks and let it heal.
Yeah, so which does kind of suck because they did just win those tag titles, but
but
maybe they could.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Maybe they could freebird it or whatever, and Tongaloa
live TV, dude.
Give Tongaloa some
justice for Tonga. Anyway, though, this was a long ass review, but man, it was a great show. Phenomenal SummerSlam. SummerSlam.
Yeah, I'd say probably like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd probably say like 8.59.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't like a all-time top tier, but I mean, it's one of the better ones in recent memory, at least.
100%. In terms of SummerSlams, 100%. Anyway, let us know in the comments what you guys thought about the show.
Yeah, or what do you think is going to happen going forward with some of these matches, some of these feuds?
Dude, Raw and SmackDown this week are must-see TV because of this. That's all you need. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, and follow us or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts at, Spotify, Apple, etc., and share us with whoever you may think would like this type of content. As always, I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.